everybody. Today we're going to be reading a letter from another Dogstar Daily fan, Marina. She writes, I adopted a black lab mix from a shelter in Connecticut 3 months ago, and I also volunteer there every Monday. Her name is Amber, and she is about 2 to 3 years old. We don't know anything about her past life, only that she was a stray dog from Kentucky. She is a very good dog, except for one big problem, which is getting worse and worse. Squirrel chasing. I never let her off leash, but our walks are very traumatic to me.
Oh.
She looks for squirrels all the time and is pulling on leash very hard. Her pulling dislocated my shoulder 1 month ago.
Oh my goodness.
So this is serious pulling.
Yeah.
She knows, quote, leave it. She knows the leave it command, and she knows how to walk on the leash, but when she sees squirrels or deers or anything that moves, she is concentrating to the point that nothing else exists around her. She wouldn't respond to anything, even to her name. I don't exist for her anymore, and she totally ignores me. During our walks, it's squirrel hunting, and when we get home, she sits on the balcony for hours watching for them.
Wow.
I want to have a dog. I want to go hiking with her and do things together. I want it to be about us and not the squirrels. I cannot afford a trainer, but I'm willing to work hard with her. Please tell me what to do. Thank you very much.
Wow, that's a big one. Huh?
I know, I wanted to read this one all the way through because, I mean, you can really see kind of the desperation and emotional, like turmoil that this person is going through.
And that's not uncommon. I mean, it's actually nice that that's written out there for people to kind of associate with that, empathize with that, because this is where the relationship begins to break down. This is how dogs end up in the shelter. I wouldn't doubt that Amber's first owner had a similar problem and frustration with her, and felt like she couldn't take on that challenge and didn't succeed. And that's how they end up in the shelter. It's not that they've been abused all the time. It's that the relationship breaks down. And honestly, if you can't walk your dog and take them places or have the doggy life that you planned, that's where it begins.
Yeah, I mean, if you're worried that your dog is going to dislocate your shoulder when it's on leash, then...
that's extreme. I mean, I do feel for this this woman to a certain degree, because having just acquired Zuzu, our now 12-month-old Beauceron, she's energetic, and she also is kind of squirrely and deer interested, maybe not to that degree. But I've hurt myself a couple times just with tension and pulling in the early training process, and I know how it feels to be that frustrated and to feel, it's also, you feel vulnerable, you feel out of control, and that's dangerous for the animal too.
Right.
So we have...
Right. So what can we do to help her, or what can she do to help her dog?
There are several resources. Training is obviously a big deal here, and there's lots of different things. We'll give a couple basic tips, and then maybe list some other resources that will go into depth, because if she's got the time and the interest in training, there are plenty of programs she can take on to do this. But ultimately, it's very, very difficult to work with predatory behavior. It's hard to trump that. Well, here's the idea. They want to do it more than anything. And I do believe, Ian and I were actually just talking about this recently, that when they get in the zone for what they're meant to be, what they're meant to do in life, they literally don't hear or see you. It's not that they are simply ignoring you in some of these cases. I mean, every dog always has a choice. Do I want to do this or this? And sometimes you are just too boring.
They have a powerful drive.
Yeah, some do, and some more than others, right?
It's like if they were humping another dog, and you told them to stop, you wouldn't be that surprised that they're not going to listen to you. They're in a zone that they've evolved over millions of years to be in that zone. That's part of their survival.
And it happens even with people. If you're really focused on something, how you don't actually hear. You might be, whether you're sleeping or... Yeah,
if anyone has a spouse with an iPhone, you can probably identify with that. Or just a computer, a Facebook account, perhaps. Maybe.
You can actually zone out. So, and that's true. And actually, I think Ian and I were talking about it because of Claude, and how he would get stuck on a sniff, and then literally just disappear into his olfactory world for a minute. And it took quite a bit of motivation and training to get him to be able to snap out of that, and because it's like they're not there. It's true. So you have your work cut out for you. It's true. Can you? This is what training is about, though. Just one more extreme situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's in no way a new problem for us. You know, we've certainly, I think we even did a video iWoofs a little while ago about someone who said that squirrels were the nemesis, their dog's nemesis.
Yes.
And the answer really is it's hard, but it's just baby steps. It's just working your way up to that level of distraction where there are actually squirrels running by. You know, like that's a high level of distraction, but there are baby steps along the way to that where you can be outside, or maybe there's the smell of a squirrel, you know, that was there a little while ago, or there's a squirrel, you know, through the chain link fence across the block that you can see in the distance. It
is one of those more difficult things because squirrels are everywhere, and it's hard to control at the distance that a squirrel stays from you.
Right, you don't necessarily have control of... It'd be great if we had a trained squirrel that you could be like, all right, Rocky, you know, come in here and be 50 yards away and stay still. Yeah, and now run and stop. And
they tend to just show up sometimes and dart in and out of the picture. But you can do things. Things you need to do, I would say hand feed. You have to become more interesting and exciting to your dog than you ever have imagined or dreamed before. This will become natural eventually. You can have the same amount of attention and enthusiasm can be focused on you as is on the squirrels, but it's going to take some time. You know, maybe she was a backyard dog, maybe she was a country dog, and this is what she did to entertain herself. Like, this is where her brain has, you know, this is how her brain has developed and the habits that have formed. They won't go away overnight. But if you're hand feeding, and the good news is you have a dog that likes to chase things, and you can also use that to your advantage. They have plenty of toys that are animal-like, or in some cases even animal parts that you can utilize. You say you use scent of a squirrel. They have raccoon tails. They have rabbit fur.
Right.
And you know, often what we'll do is take them and put them on the end of a lunge whip, a horse whip, and so you can make this little creature come to life.
Yeah.
And now you have a squirrel that is in your pocket, you know, that you're carrying with you. And so you're working on several things simultaneously, but ultimately what the picture looks like is you stop when I ask you to stop chasing a squirrel, and your reward is you get to chase this squirrel and actually get it, you know, because then you can have a little tug or something.
Right.
So you have to build the value in your toy. You have to build the value of you and your words and just your general interest level. You need to become a three-ring circus and engage your dog at a level like you never had before. So many people, and no harm meant, but they, you know, their dog is clearly crazy for squirrels or whatever it may be, other dogs, you know, ball, and they're asking for their dog's attention, and then they stand there like statues. You know, like, Fifi, come! Is supposed to magically, you know, trump all else, and that's not going to happen. For your voice and your specific cues to mean anything, you have to become the most interesting thing on the planet to the dog. And it's actually a fun project in that sense.
Right.
But it's also a lot of work. It means no lazy training. It means being engaged. Probably limiting your wooded park walks for the short term. Do street walks in the meantime. And then, as you said, gradually work up to working with the actual live squirrels in the park. That's the college level, you know, maybe even PhD level task that, you know, that you'll be asking your squirrel to do.
It seems like there's really no higher level of distraction for many dogs.
No, it's one of the primaries, right? I mean, like you said, there's sex and there's food, and you know, water would go with food, I guess, and that's and social interaction, because you know that's what you need to live. And that's a primary resource, and if they're compelled to chase, that's and hunt, that's really kicking in at a primal level for them.
Right. And
so, you know, by hand feeding and moving and using, maybe they have those food toys too. So you have your raccoon tail on a rope. They have these little tug toys that you can put food in the pouch and then Velcro them open. So chase, 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 throw, chase, open it up, and this is how they eat. So actually the hunting now is related to you and interaction with you and integrating training with your hunting.
Right, so the first step, the first thing that you got to do to resolve this problem is get rid of your food bowl.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
The food is the easiest way to get your dog to like something. All dogs like the food. So get rid of the food ball and hand feed your dog throughout games of tug and games of chase, games of fetch, you know, any sort of games that are interactive where the dog's attention has to be on you. And then, you utilize the squirrel-ness. You gotta
engage.
Right.
Be the squirrel.
Exactly.
Literally.
And you can go to the store and get the squirrel, or a raccoon tail or whatever, and you need to utilize that and be fun about it. Be exciting.
So as much as it is a frustration, and we can hear her frustration and anguish there, it's also, the good news is you know what your dog loves. You've got something that your dog is so motivated for that, she'll focus for hours. And now if you can just harness the essence of the squirrel and literally be the squirrel, you can actually really get far.
Right, and once you've got that let's say you've got to the point where the dog loves to play tug, then it's very easy to teach the dog to walk calmly on leash. We have pages and pages about this on Dog Star Daily. The key, though, is getting to the point where you have that motivator, you have that reward to give your dog.
And it's going to take weeks, if not months. And what you do is little sting operations. First, you work in your backyard, your house, and your backyard, your garage. You don't go in Squirrel Central. And you start asking your dog for little bits of full-on exciting attention in all sorts of places, and you hop in the car and we're just going to go in the parking lot of the park. We're going to go to a schoolyard, tennis court, and you don't do this for hours on end. You just are asking for short bits of attention that gradually get longer, and then eventually there's a lot more you can do with it. But that's kind of the beginning of it. CleanRun.com has a lot of great interactive toys that you can use, including the lunge whips with the little animal pieces. And it sounds worse than it is. And your dog is,
It does sound like a animal piece on the end of a fishing rod.
It doesn't look that bad. It's no different than a stuffed toy if you can get them that into it. Plush toy. But hey, you've got a carnivore that's telling you they love to chase, and you can utilize that. Also, Leslie McDivitt has a series of, it's a DVD and then a book called Control Unleashed. Great program for working with these dogs that need a bunch of impulse control. And doing so by harnessing that power without thwarting it, you know what I mean? You don't want to quash the enthusiasm. Right. Instead, you just want to redirect it. Yeah. So it can be a very fun project. We'd love to hear back from you. When you've been training for a while, this may be several months, but it'll really enhance your bond, and it will be about you and your dog, and not just about the squirrels.
I wouldn't be surprised if they have some more questions. We did give them a lot of information, so certainly don't hesitate to write back and ask for some clarifications, and certainly if you can take some video, we'd love to see it.
Absolutely. Enjoy. Happy training.
Bye.